Welcome to City Rivals of North America, the Big Four leagues and their championships. We'll also be looking at other major league sports in North America and the NFL pre-Superbowl era. We'll also be looking at old and rival major sports leagues in North America. For this episode of City Rivals of North America, Toronto versus Montreal, 1912. Round 1, Grey Cup quarterfinal, McGill-Redmond versus the Toronto Varsity Blues. The Toronto Varsity Blues won the game 14-3 and moved on to the semifinals and lost to the Toronto Argonauts. Scoreboard update, 1912. Toronto 1, Montreal 0, championships 3-1 Toronto. 1913. Round 2, Grey Cup semifinal, McGill-Redmond versus Toronto Parkdale Club. Toronto Parkdale won the game by forfeit over McGill-Redmond and then proceeded to lose the Grey Cup to the Hamilton Tigers. Scoreboard update, 1913. Toronto 2, Montreal 0. Championships are still 3-1 Toronto. 1914. Round 3, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Blue Shirts. The Toronto Blue Shirts beat the Montreal Canadiens 6-2 in a 2-game total goal series, and then went on to win the Stanley Cup against the Victoria Aristocrats from the PCHA. Round 4, Grey Cup semifinal, McGill-Redmond versus the Toronto Varsity Blues. The Toronto Varsity Blues won the game 17-13 over the McGill-Redmond, but then proceeded to lose to the Toronto Argonauts in the Grey Cup final. Scoreboard update 2014. With 2 more playoff matchups, it's now 4-0 Toronto, and for the championships, it's now 5-1 Toronto. 1918. Round 5, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Arenas. Toronto Arenas won the 2-game total goal series 10-7 over the Montreal Canadiens, then went on to win the Stanley Cup over the Vancouver Millionaires from the PCHA. The 1918 head-to-head scoreboard update, Toronto 5, Montreal 0. Championships Toronto 6, Montreal 2. 1920. Round 6, Grey Cup semifinal, McGill-Redmond versus the Toronto Varsity Blues. The Toronto Varsity Blues won the game 14-6 and went on to the Grey Cup final and beat the Toronto Argonauts to win the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update, 1920. Toronto 6, Montreal 0. Championships, Toronto 7, Montreal 2. 1925. Round 7, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto St. Pats. The Montreal Canadiens won the 2-game total goal series 5-2 and went on to lose the Stanley Cup final to the Victoria Cougars from the WCHL. Scoreboard update, 1925. Montreal's on the board. It's 6-1 Toronto now, and championships it's 9 for Toronto and 3 for Montreal. 1926. Round 8, Grey Cup quarterfinal, McGill-Redmond versus Toronto Varsity Blues. Toronto Varsity Blues won the game 12-2 over the McGill-Redmond, went on to win the semifinal over the Queens Golden Gales, but lost the Grey Cup final to Ottawa Senators, also known as the Ottawa Rough Riders. 1926 scoreboard update, Toronto 7, Montreal 1. Championships, Toronto 9, Montreal 4. 1932. Round 9, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Maroons versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs won the 2-game total goal series 4-3 over the Montreal Maroons, and then went on to beat the New York Rangers to win the Stanley Cup. 1932 scoreboard update, Toronto 8, Montreal 1. Championships, Toronto 12, Montreal 7. 1933. Round 10, Grey Cup quarterfinal, Montreal AAA Wing Wheelers versus the Toronto Argonauts. The Toronto Argonauts won the game 20-8 over Montreal, and then proceeded to beat Winnipeg and Sarnia to win the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update, 1933, Toronto 9, Montreal 1. Championships, Toronto 13, Montreal 7. 1935. Round 11, Stanley Cup final, Montreal Maroons versus Toronto Maple Leafs. The Montreal Maroons won the best-of-5 series 3-0 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Scoreboard update, 1935. Toronto 9, Montreal 2. Championships, Toronto 13, Montreal 8. 1944. Round 12, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Montreal Canadiens won the best-of-7 series 4-1, then went on to beat Chicago Blackhawks to win the Stanley Cup. Scoreboard update, 1944. Toronto 9, Montreal 3. Championships, Toronto 16, Montreal 9. 1945. Round 13, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs won the best-of-7 series 4-2, then went on to beat the Detroit Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup. Scoreboard update, 1945. Toronto 10, Montreal 3. Championships, Toronto 18, Montreal 9. 1946. Round 14, Grey Cup quarterfinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. Toronto won the game 12-6 over the Montreal Alouettes. Then Toronto beat the Toronto Bombing Beachers and Winnipeg to go on to win the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update 1946. Toronto 11, Montreal 3. Championships, Toronto 19, Montreal 10. 1947. Round 15, Stanley Cup final, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto won the best-of-7 series 4-2 over Montreal and won the Stanley Cup. Scoreboard update 1947. Toronto 12, Montreal 3. Championships, Toronto 21, Montreal 10. 1951. Round 16, Stanley Cup final, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto won the best-of-7 series 4-1 and won the Stanley Cup. 1951 scoreboard update. Toronto 13, Montreal 3. Championships, Toronto 25, Montreal 11. 1955. Round 17, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. The Montreal Alouettes won the game 38-36 and went on to the Grey Cup but lost to the Edmonton Eskimos. 1955 scoreboard update. Toronto 13, Montreal 4. Championships, Toronto 26, Montreal 12. 1959. Round 18, Stanley Cup final, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Montreal Canadiens win the best-of-7 series 4-1 over the Toronto Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup. 1959 scoreboard update. Toronto 13, Montreal 5. Championships, Toronto 26, Montreal 16. 1960. Round 19, Stanley Cup final, Montreal Canadiens versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Montreal Canadiens won the best-of-7 series 4-0 to win the Stanley Cup. 1960 scoreboard update. Toronto 13, Montreal 6. Championships, Toronto 26, Montreal 17. 1963. Round 20, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto Maple Leafs win the best-of-7 game series 4-1, then went on to beat the Detroit Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup. 1963 scoreboard update. Toronto 14, Montreal 6. Championships, Toronto 28, Montreal 17. 1964. Round 21, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto Maple Leafs win the best-of-7 series 4-3, then went on to play the Detroit Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup. 1964 scoreboard update. Toronto 15, Montreal 6. Championships, Toronto 29, Montreal 17. 1965. Round 22, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Montreal won the best-of-7 series 4-2 and then went on to win the Stanley Cup over Chicago. 1965 scoreboard update. Toronto 15, Montreal 7. Championships, Toronto 29, Montreal 18. 1966. Round 23, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Montreal went on to win the best-of-7 series 4-0 and then went on to beat Detroit to win the Stanley Cup. 1966 scoreboard update. Toronto 15, Montreal 8. Championships, Toronto 29, Montreal 19. 1967. Round 24, Stanley Cup final, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto went on to win the best-of-7 series 4-2 to win the Stanley Cup. Scoreboard update 1967. Toronto 16, Montreal 8. Championships, Toronto 30, Montreal 19. 1970. Round 25, Grey Cup quarterfinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 16-7, then went on to beat Hamilton and Calgary to win the Grey Cup. 1970 scoreboard update. Toronto 16, Montreal 9. Championships, Toronto 30, Montreal 22. 1973. Round 26, Grey Cup quarterfinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 32-10, but then lost to Ottawa in the semifinals. Scoreboard update 1973. Toronto 16, Montreal 10. Championships, Toronto 30, Montreal 24. 1978. Round 27, Stanley Cup semifinal, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Montreal won the best-of-7 game series 4-0 and then went on to beat the Boston Bruins to win the Stanley Cup. Scoreboard update 1978. Toronto 16, Montreal 11. Championships, Toronto 31, Montreal 29. 1979. Round 28, Stanley Cup quarterfinal, Montreal Canadiens versus Toronto Maple Leafs. Montreal won the best-of-7 series 4-0, then went on to beat Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers to win the Stanley Cup. 1979 scoreboard update, Toronto 16, Montreal 12. Championships, Toronto 31, Montreal 30. 1996. Round 29, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. Toronto won the game 43-7, then went on to beat the Edmonton Eskimos to win the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update, 1996, Toronto 17, Montreal 12. Championships, Toronto 36, Montreal 32. 1997. Round 30, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus Toronto Argonauts. Toronto beat Montreal 37-30 and went on to play Saskatchewan and won the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update, 1997, Toronto 18, Montreal 12. Championships, Toronto 37, Montreal 32. 1998. 1998 Grey Cup quarterfinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 41-28, then went on to play in the semifinals versus Hamilton but lost. Scoreboard update, 1998, Toronto 18, Montreal 13. Championships, Toronto 37, Montreal 32. 2002. Round 32, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 35-18, then went on to beat the Edmonton Eskimos to win the Grey Cup. 2002 scoreboard update, Toronto 18, Montreal 14. Championships, Toronto 40, Montreal 33. 2003. Round 33, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus the Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 30-26, but ended up losing to Edmonton in the Grey Cup final. Scoreboard update, 2003, Toronto 18, Montreal 15. Championships, Toronto 41, Montreal 33. 2004. Round 34, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus Toronto Argonauts. Toronto won the game 26-18, then went on to play the BC Lions and won the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update, 2004, Toronto 19, Montreal 15. Championships, Toronto 42, Montreal 33. 2005. Round 35, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 33-17, but went on to lose to Edmonton in the Grey Cup final. Scoreboard update, 2005, Toronto 19, Montreal 16. Championships, Toronto 43, Montreal 33. 2006. Round 36, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 33-24, but went on to play the BC Lions in the Grey Cup final but lost. Scoreboard update, 2006, Toronto 19, Montreal 17. Championships, Toronto 43, Montreal 33. 2010. Round 37, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus Toronto Argonauts. Montreal won the game 48-17 and went on to beat Saskatchewan to win the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update, 2010, Toronto 19, Montreal 18. Championships, Toronto 43, Montreal 35. 2012. Round 38, Grey Cup semifinal, Montreal Alouettes versus Toronto Argonauts. Toronto won the game 27-20 and went on to beat the Calgary Stampeders to win the Grey Cup. Scoreboard update, 2012, Toronto 20, Montreal 18. Championships, Toronto 45, Montreal 35. 2015. Round 39, MLS Cup, first round, Montreal Impact versus Toronto FC. The Montreal Impact won the game 3-0 over Toronto FC, but lost in the next round to the Columbus Crew. Scoreboard update, 2015, Toronto 20, Montreal 19. Championships, Toronto 45, Montreal 35. 2016. Round 40, MLS Cup, semifinal, Montreal Impact versus Toronto FC. Toronto FC won the 2 games on aggregate series, 7-5, went on to the finals but lost Seattle in penalty kicks. Scoreboard update, 2016, Toronto 21, Montreal 19. Championships, Toronto 45, Montreal 35. Present date. Final update. Montreal and Toronto played each other 40 times in head-to-head matchups in the playoffs, with Toronto having the edge 21-19. Trophy cases, Montreal has 35 championships and Toronto has 48. Thanks for watching City Rivals in North America, Toronto versus Montreal.